So here's something I was working on quickly. These are past addresses you can find on these suspects. There are a few more I have to add in for Frank. But yeah, this is stuff people can find online. So I've been mapping out this is a rougher map. I have one that's a little bit more detailed. It looks like they all had addresses, at least 3 of my suspects: Michael Paul Maxwell, R.A.I.N.S, Zay Frank, and Christopher William Tomson, Chris Tomson from Vampire Weekend. It looks to me like they all had addresses in Brooklyn on at least one overlapping year. I believe right around like 2008, 2007, 2008. I know that Chris Tomson didn't graduate from Columbia until like, 2006 roughly, something like that. I know he was touring fairly hardcore for 2008. So where was he living for 2007 after he'd graduated from Columbia in 2006, and before his career really like took off and he was starting to tour in like probably summerish, maybe at the latest summerish of 2007. But his tour dates, from what I've seen, officially start January 2008. So I would say, yeah, he was probably living, there's a good chance he was living down in Brooklyn for the year 2006 to 2008 area. And I know he has, there's an address listed to him in Brooklyn as of 2008. Zay Frank is on record from a couple different sources, at least on the internet, that he and his wife moved from Brooklyn Heights. So this is Zay's, and so there'll be like maybe a couple of, so he, like I said, he has at least a couple of addresses assigned to him in Brooklyn, and they're on this map because it's not very detailed. They're right near each other. They're near enough that I can just kind of put a little smiley face, or, well, a little hush-hush face there. And the same is true of a couple of these. Like, Maxwell has another address. He has 2 addresses that are sort of right near each other up here. I have to double-check Chris's. This is one on Halsey that he got, it looks like in 2008. Although that looks like a weird, there's some very suspicious transactions going on there, if you ask me, when it comes to some of Chris Tomson's property transactions. Really suspicious. I'm looking into it some more. And actually, yeah, there's some suspicious stuff going on with Maxwell's, some of his little property things. Anyway, we'll make more videos about those, but this is just to show you. So this is the little key. Maxwell's got the swirly eye face, and Zay's got the hush-hush face, and Tomson's got the drooling on himself face. Okay, so Chris Tomson, Halsey, Michael Paul Maxwell, and remember that Chris Tomson and I were students at the Petty School together. Michael Maxwell was an art teacher there at that school. And remember how I already released a video about this, and I already have some stuff written in the blog about it, how right after I contacted Maxwell with a PDF about some of this stuff, suddenly a bunch of people from very suspicious locations were going to my artist portfolio website, and I could track their movements using Google Analytics on my site. And then here's Zay in Brooklyn Heights. So, yeah, it looks like they were living in these locations, or they had addresses in these locations right around the same time. There are a few more addresses that aren't on this list I have to add. And then you can see here, I kind of just quickly mapped out how long it would take them to get to each other's addresses. So like a 26-minute bike ride, 1 hour, 17-minute walk, or a 21-minute drive from Maxwell's place to Zay Frank's place. Let's see, 23-minute bike ride, roughly an hour walk, or what was it, a 23-minute drive to get from Maxwell's to Chris. And then a 25-minute bike ride, 1 hour, 17-minute walk, 24-minute drive to get from Zay Frank's to Chris Tomson's. So I have it here. So they were within a pretty easy distance of each other, I'd say. If you're driving, and you probably could get there much faster than these. I mean, if you drive it regularly, you know how it is. You can shave a few minutes off those times. So, yeah, I just think that's interesting that 3 of the suspects on my suspects list lived so near each other during at least 1 to 2 overlapping years here in Brooklyn, or they had addresses assigned to them here in Brooklyn. Oh, and the OTO, the official mailing address for the OTO lodge that's in New York, the Tahuti Lodge, would be up a bit north of here, so up around here area in Sunnydale, is it? Sunnybrook or Sunnydale? Yeah. You guys can just go look that up. The Tahuti Lodge. Just look up Ordo Templi Orientis, and they're in New York City Lodge, and go to contacts, and it'll tell you down at the bottom. So, and that would even make a whole other sort of like a triangle. Interesting. This one makes its own triangle, but then they would also make another triangle if I had. I'll probably make another little map that shows, all of their faces, and then where the OTO mailing address would be. It wouldn't, like the lodge or whatever, that wouldn't be a meeting place. That's sort of a PO. That's a PO box, likely in a post office. So it would be a matter of, that's another sort of on the list of things to figure out. Where would they have gotten together to meet? Probably, I would think, occasionally in some private locations, like private addresses, each other's homes. I do know, again, that the OTO likes to borrow Freemasonry lodges for their meetings, so that's something else I have to look into. Anyway, yep, just packing in more evidence. Okay, let's end this one. Come in. No. Oh my God.